Alrighty, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Sean Dexter and I welcome you back to the Mango Grove. This is going to be a quick update to our trade idea that we posted on a live stream where we identified a very good bid opportunity at around $1.60 to $1.69. And many of you put on this trade and now you guys are wondering, hey, what targets can we look towards? And I do have targets for you guys. In fact, they are very exciting targets, especially for those of you who got into the trade all the way back down over here when we first got into our Sui trade, right? Well, actually, the first time we got into our Sui trade was over here where we traded from around $1.50 all the way to $2. But the second trade we took on Sui was somewhere around here. So if you guys got into that position, the targets I'm going to be giving you guys today is going to be extremely exciting. But even if you guys are getting in somewhere around this region over here, these targets are massive. But before we talk about targets, I wanted to use this as an opportunity to make this more of an educational video where I show you guys how I came up with this zone of conviction, right? Because we did this on the live stream and we did this really quickly. And for those of you who didn't get into the bid opportunity over here, you guys can use these same techniques to find bid opportunities on other crypto assets because we're going into a bull market and there's going to be so much opportunity, right? Because there are gains to be made everywhere, life-changing gains, guys. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm going to play a quick clip from the previous live stream where you guys are going to see how I use confluencing indicators along with me recognizing that the asset's behavior is very similar to another asset that I'm trading that already bounced off a similar bid zone. Thank you. Okay, we look at Sui. Okay, fine. Last one. Weekly still long, 4 days still long, so the high time frame trend is still fine. You guys are getting a bid opportunity right over here. Somewhere around $1.60 would be another really good bid option on the 4-day dynamic, so keep an eye out for that. So yeah, remember dashboard says long on the weekly, long on the 4-day. So you guys have trend support on the dashboard. And on top of that, if you go on over to the chart over here, you're seeing that we're coming down to the 4-day dynamic right over here at $1.60. This is another example of something breaking out of the range. Bean, Wolvie, again, another example of it. Breaking out of the range and then coming back into the range, right? So you cannot trust these ranges to hold. You have to expect it to come back in. You know what this reminds me of? Like, if I were you guys, you really want the sweep position, I would start scaling in right here. Oh yeah, Core, you're still here, dude. I was wondering whether to talk about this. So this is actually reminding me of Arrow, right? If you look at Arrow, right, guys, this dip was very similar because the high low, right, was here, right? And I was looking to see whether it will hold these candle closes. So the Sui dip is reminding me of Arrow. You guys see it, right? But I don't want to talk about Arrow because Core is the only one trading Arrow with me. Sui reminds me of this. So if you guys are interested in trading Sui, you guys look at that. The 4-day dynamic is also very close to where Sui is, right? Look at that, okay? So basically we broke out the range, broke in, and we defended the high low, right? Now let's go back to Sui USDT. It's the same fractal. Broke out the range, and where's the high low? Right, you can mark this range here, and you can mark this candle close here, right? And you can see we're defending it, and the 4-day dynamic is right there. So I'll start scaling in case we don't come down. All right, and there you have it. If you guys think about it, I used 3 confluencing factors: the dashboard, the trend indicator, and the fact that there was similar behavior on another asset. On the dashboard, you guys may have noticed that even though at the time the lower time frames were all printing a short trend, the higher time frames were still long, right? What does that tell me? That tells me that we may actually be getting an opportunity on the lower time frames pulling back onto higher time frame trend support, right? Then we went on and identified that, hey, we actually are sitting on our trend indicator support level. And finally, there was that moment where I realized, wait a minute, this asset is behaving very similar to Aerodrome, right? In fact, I have the moment right over here. You guys can see me realize in this moment that, wait a minute. You guys should probably start scaling into this position if you guys want the Sui trade, because this is looking too familiar to Aerodrome. And right over here, we have Aerodrome, and you guys can see how similar the behavior has been, right? We have bounced 45% from our bid zone that we had marked out. And because we're trading this, we are familiar with its behavior, and we used it to identify the same zone on Sui. And what do you know? Sui has also bounced 45%. In fact, a tad bit more from our zone, almost 50% of a bounce. And the key thing to note over here, guys, is that I did not use the similarity in the asset behavior to come up with the thesis, right? It was first my indicators, it was the dashboard trend profile, it was the trend indicator. And then what this did was it boosted my confidence. You guys can see that moment where I was like, guys, if you want this trade, you probably want to start scaling in because it may not come down as deep as you may want it to come down. Yes, it has broken back into the range, but this might be where it stops. This might be where it puts in its high low. So start scaling in because I've seen the same behavior on Aerodream. And now Aerodream is sitting up against its resistance level and Sui is also sitting up against its resistance level. So if you guys are looking to get into Sui now, I would be a tad bit more careful over here, guys. I think we could see a pullback. So you never want to be buying into resistance unless you're okay with price pulling back on you and you have the gunpowder to buy the next higher low. That being said, once we do clear this level over here at around $2.37, we will be in blue sky breakout, and that's when we can look towards my next targets. Alrighty, now let's zoom out and talk about targets. Yes, indeed, we have to zoom out to talk about our targets. Ignore this $2 target over here. This was our target back when we were trading this in 2023. Got in around like 45 to 50 cents. Our target was $2 as long as the trend holds. We were specifically using the 2-day dynamic trend back then. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the power of using a trend. It can be your friend indeed. And we traded all the way from down here to our $2 target. And we're going to honestly continue to hold it as long as it's holding the 2-day dynamic. And it lost the 2-day dynamic right over here, somewhere around $1.60, and trended against the 2-day dynamic to a downside right after that. So why am I showing you guys this? Essentially to emphasize that even though we may have our targets to the upside, very, very high targets, it doesn't matter if the trend breaks. In fact, it works the other way too. Even though we hit our targets to the upside, it doesn't mean the trend is over. We could go even higher as long as the trend holds. But guys, keep it mango. As soon as the trend ends, you need to take your profits and get out. Because think about it, guys, if you exited it over here, you could have positioned that much more down over here, right? Around 45 cents, 50 cents. You could double, triple, 4x your position size. So don't get too gung-ho on being a bag holder, especially when the bear market begins. Now, at the moment, you guys can see that the 2-day dynamic is still holding as our trend indicator, but that may change as we start seeing those parabolic moves. So make sure to stay up to date with the channel, hit the notification button and the subscribe button, because if we actually see a change in behavior, you guys need to be prepared for that. And as soon as I identify that change in behavior, I will put out a video. So don't miss that video. Hit that notification icon. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about targets. I have our targets drawn out over here for you guys. I'm going to unhide this right over here and I'm going to zoom out for you. We have two targets. Our first target is at around $3 and $3.50. Remember, you don't want to take your entire profits over here, okay? Because I do have a high target for you guys at $7 and $7.50. So if you are taking profits at around the $3 zone, it is going to be a take partial profit, okay? Partial profits, because I do have a much higher target at around $7.50. Guys, if you got in right over here around the $7 to $8 mark, that's going to be a 10x trade for you guys if we get there. So good stuff, right? However, if you got in even over here at around $1.60, that's still a massive win to around $7.50, right? And there's no reason that this needs to stop over here. We're going to monitor it. I'm going to keep you guys up to date, but we could see this blow past the $7 to $7.50 range and make its way to around $10 as well. Again, remember, the trend is your friend until the trend ends. And as long as we're holding this trend, there's no reason to continue looking for further upside. Listen, guys, one of our core principles at Mango is that assets will go higher than you think they ever will, and they will go lower than you think they ever will. Having this mindset is risk mitigating on its own, to the upside as well to the downside. In fact, if we quickly go on over to coingecko.com, right, take a look at Solana's MCAP sitting around 95 billion, and we scroll down to Sui's MCAP right over here sitting at 6.5 billion. If Sui gets to even half of Solana's current MCAP, That's around a $15 to $16 target for Sui. Okay, that's considering it gets to only half of Solana's current cap. And that's assuming Solana's current cap. So I wouldn't put it past Sui getting closer to the $20 region, guys. It's just that at the moment, I don't have technical targets for those numbers, right? But as price develops, we'll have more information and we can start looking for higher targets. And honestly, to keep it simple, just do what I did during the live stream. Use the Mango dashboard and keep an eye on the 4-day and the weekly time frame. As long as the 4-day and the weekly are long, the trade is still on. Keep it as simple as that. With that, guys, we're going to end it right here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys did, okay? Because if I get enough feedback from you guys, I will do more of these. I'll see you guys in the next one. Keep it mango, keep it easy, keep it stress-free. Ciao.